Hello channel subscribers. Today we're going to talk about a manhwa called Pick Me Up. Pick Me Up is a mobile game of incredible difficulty. The main character, a rank 5 wizard, loses consciousness while going through a dungeon and is transported into the game. When the protagonist wakes up, he has become a level 1 playable character, Han Islet. In addition, in order to return to Earth, he must lead the novice masters and heroes through the 100th floor of the dungeon. We are introduced to Carl Mormont the mercenary, Lyle the shopkeeper, Grit the antique shopkeeper, Jenna the hermit, and Han Islet the farmer. They all have no idea where they are or how they got here. They begin to discuss what is happening, and it turns out that they are all from Townir, when suddenly Issel, the ferry manager, appears and tells them to form a column, as the owner will soon open a rift. Carl is aggressive with Issel, but she asks him to stop if he doesn't want to lose his head. Carl doesn't listen to her and his head flies off his shoulders. Issel warns everyone, whoever won't listen to her and follow her orders will die the same death as Carl. Issel forms a detachment and at this time, the portal opens. Han tells Issel that they are unarmed and need to get weapons or they will look like cannon fodder. Issel sends a request to the host. The master grants Issel's request and opens the workshop. The other team members ask Han about how he knows everything. He replies that he doesn't know much, but the most basic thing is that if you hesitate, you die. They go to the workshop with their weapons. Jenna is suspicious of Han as she realizes he knows something and won't tell the rest of the story. Meanwhile, while Han and Jenna are chatting, the other team members enter the portal and die. Issel is furious, but forms a new squad under the remaining Han and Jenna. As they enter the portal, they find themselves in the temple. The temple takes them to the first level, and their task is to defeat all enemies. The third level goblins appear and, upon seeing them, the rest of Khan's team rushes out. Jenna is frightened and we see her stats drop by 30%. The other members of the team are prevented from passing by a magical wall. The only way to survive is to defeat all the goblins. It turns out that Khan Islet's real name is Han Sajan and he is a player of another mobile game. The goal of the mobile game is to conquer the tower, which consists of 100 levels, helping the heroes to extract resources and set up a base camp. It is necessary to clear the tower using tactics and strategy. Also in the game, there was a variation of ranks of heroes, from 1 star to 7. The game had strict rules, unlike others. No matter how much work you put into your character, you cannot resurrect it after death. After another run through the game, at some point, it sucks Khan inside itself. Han finds himself inside the game. The game is set in Townir, a land of unity between humans and non-humans. Khan Islet is a resident of a small village in the Haim territory. Upon entering the game, Khan is offered training for which he will receive bonuses. His training was to defeat the goblins who invaded the village. It comes to Han's attention that things are for real. Having defeated the goblins, Khan receives a new level and a well-deserved reward. The game rewarded Han with a special offer. He was given 500 gems for the first premium summon. His summon was Shay Raid Estri, a 4-star Knight class hero. On his way to the final stage of training, Khan meets Issel. Han says he knows her because he plays her often. Issel is confused, but asks him to take the last stage of training. A fusion effect occurs, an amplification by combining the two heroes. One of the two players is used as a sacrifice to increase the other hero's stats, and during this action, one of the heroes will inevitably be destroyed. Han realizes that it will be him, as a normal player would have no desire to save him and destroy Shay. But that's not what happens. Shay is destroyed. We are transported to the scene of the battle, where Han and Jenna fight the goblins. It is explained to us that drag and drop is used for player synthesis, built on the fact that you drag a sacrificed character to another. Han realizes that he is the other person's player. The player has minimal influence on the game's combat, as this is because all of the heroes' battles are done automatically. Han realized that as he was playing, a level 999 boss pulled him into the game itself. The game has over 100 million players worldwide, and the reason for that is that you can watch the world like a god. In the game, the hero has 2 ways to die, fusion or death in combat. In addition, in order for Khan not to undergo fusion, he begins to train hard. Since training is necessary not only physically, but also mentally, Han puts all his persistence into it. We learn that Han Sajan is an orphaned loner. While training, Han is found by Jenna. Jenna tells him that this was her first real fight, but since her father was an archer, she will make a great one. Han notices her characteristics and realizes that her height quotient is low, but there is a necessary skill. Han agrees to help Jenna, and after they shake hands, they are added a friendship bonus. Han calls out to Issel. Han realizes that he is the only one who can see the game messages and the wizard's messages. This is how we learn that Issel is a level 257 fairy. From the conversation we learn that time flows differently in the game than it does in reality. The fairy can't harm the hero, only if the hero rejects the wizard's orders. To adapt in the world of the game, you must learn all the rules. Han explains to Jenna that the master gives orders through Issel and they must follow them. When they reach the 100th floor, they can escape to freedom. Over time, Han begins to understand the principle of the game. He could get food or clothes just by thinking about it, but weapons were not on the list. Also, training did not increase the characteristics or level of the hero, but it gave skills and improved abilities. A skilled wizard classifies his main heroes into 3 categories: mental impact, skills, and build. Han is just the kind who works on his body. It's been 3 days since the training and the master has joined the game. It takes a team of 5 heroes to get through the floors, so the wizard uses summoning and summons the 3 remaining single-star heroes. The new heroes are as incomprehensible as Han was the first time. Issel opens a portal and sends everyone to the second floor. Wolves and goblins are encountered on the second floor. The new heroes are frightened and their stats are reduced by 30%. Jenna is scared too, but Han cheers her up. While Han deals with the wolves, he orders Jenna to kill the goblins. Having dealt with goblins and wolves, the heroes pass the second floor. After clearing the second floor, the heroes are sent to the third floor, but the wizard is disconnected from the game. Han realizes that time in the game flows 3 times faster than in the waiting room, so the master must connect in 3 days. Han reflects on the fact that all the 1-star heroes are ordinary, unconscious people who don't understand what's going on. After all, heroes of 2 stars and above are immediately eager to go. The next day, the training and skill pumping began again. While training, Jenna accidentally hits Han with an arrow, which gives him the skill immunity to pain. Khan develops his sword and shield skills to merge into a single skill, sword and shield. Master returns to the game and sends the heroes to the third floor. Khan notices that the enemies have improved equipment and their tactics. Having dealt with the enemies, this time the MVP is Jenna. But the other 3 heroes still don't want to take part in the battle. We see an informational tip that if the heroes don't listen to you, you can spin the wheel of fortune to obey. After the third floor, the wizard sends the heroes back to the first floor. The wizard begins to drive the heroes through the floors in order to raise the level of each hero. We understand what all this was for synthesis. The master conducts a synthesis, taking Jenna and one of the heroes. After fusion, Jenna gains the falconry skill. Next comes Han, and after fusion he gains the skill of equanimity. Han tells Jenna that if she slacks off, eventually she will either fall to monsters or become a victim of fusion. She needs to stick close to strong people like Han. The next day, at training, a third hero who is not a victim of fusion joins Han and Jenna. He realizes his mistake and understands everything, but Han doesn't trust him. A training fight takes place between them, in which Han tests his skills. The third hero gets a spear and they distribute the effectiveness of their squad: close combat, medium combat, long-range combat. Next, we see how the master puts the first level arsenal. Han calls Issel for information on the game. They begin chatting and we find out that there is a player named Loki, one of the game's best masters. At the end of the chapter, Han says he is Loki. Issel doesn't believe Han that he is Loki, but Han proves it to her, arguing that only the master and technical support know the account number due to the threat of hacking. Issel asks for Han's autograph, because then she can become a VIP member of Ragnar Loki, Loki's Cafe. Next, we talk about Niflheim, the waiting room of the account. Niflheim has 13 floors with waiting rooms and a capacity of 20 million people. Han tells Issel that the owner of the waiting room, whose nickname is Waitiver, is human from Earth, and that the summoned heroes are not artificial intelligence. Issel confirms his words and says that the world is slightly different, but they are all human. The master is unaware that they are human, as he is simply a user who enjoys the game. Han asks Issel about her functions and she tells him that she can give advice, open and close objects, and help with offline work. Each wizard has his own waiting room, just slightly different. The worlds within the game were real in another world. Han finds Jenna and Aaron, the third hero, training. Han calls Jenna along, but then Issel shows up and she and Jenna have a conflict. Issel reveals Han's identity, but Jenna doesn't understand who Loki is. After talking to Issel, Han realizes that he is half master and half hero. Issel opens an armory with a vault for Han. Han takes ore, leather, and boards from the vault to forge new weapons. As he approaches the workplace, he realizes that he lacks the experience to forge good weapons. But since Han is a half-master, he agrees to go through the weapon-making puzzle. He receives a forged C-rank longsword. He also forges C-rank weapons for other heroes. The master sends the heroes to the 4th floor, where we are introduced to a new type of enemies, harpies. The harpies begin to attack and Aaron receives a 30% reduction in characteristics due to fear. Jenna strikes Aaron, thereby making him gather his strength. Soon, the heroes clear the 4th floor and are rewarded. Aaron is unsure of himself to justify himself to the master, but the master adds him to the chosen heroes to give us a hint that he will stay alive. We are shown 7-star heroes, Khan's team. All of them are supreme heroes. Their names are Cirrus, Jernit, Riddigen, Mutin, and Nahaku. We are shown a shot of Cirrus going in search of the master. Next, we see some improvements in the waiting room, thereby raising the level of the town square. Han begins to guess that Waitiver is an office clerk, since he can afford to pay into the game. Another call for players begins. We are told about the ways of drafting: regular, which is for the money received in the game, and premium, for real currency in the world. New players, still not understanding where they were distributed as a workforce, because the waiting room with the rise of the level has changed and there are additional buildings. The master divides the heroes into groups of 5. Some of them are sent to train and improve their skills, while others are sent straight to dungeon. Han, Jenna, and Aaron watch the heroes go through the dungeon, but one by one, they die. Eventually Aaron becomes the leader of the group, which goes to the 1st floor. Aaron needs this to improve his skills and level up. Time passes and Aaron and his team go back to the waiting room. We are also shown how the protagonist's outrage is displayed on the Master's main screen, and Han tells Jenna and Aaron that until they are useful to the Master, they will not see any good food except potatoes. Han reassigns the duties of cook from Dolph, the new hero, to Chloe, since he can't even cook potatoes. Over dinner, Han tells all the heroes what's going on in the game. He assigns duties. Enoch becomes the carpenter, Chloe becomes the cook, and Dolph is assigned the woodworker. Han explains that the civilians have a high chance of survival, but the number of places is limited, and if, after the draft, one is found who is more profitable before the Master, they will be demoted to a regular fighter. The next day, 3 new guys, Zid, Hansen, and Dika, come to Han's training session. A few days later, there was a new draft in which Aaron and the trio took over distribution duties, and there was only one casualty during the elimination process. Jenna asks Han why the Master doesn't send them to the 5th floor. Han answers her that the last hero on his or her team is undetermined, because no one knows what's on the 5th floor. The Master again sends the heroes to the 4th floor. Han and Jenna do not take part in the battle, as the newcomers need to hone their formation. The Master began to connect to the game more and more often, and there are new people, a blacksmith and a tanner, who have been working on improving the equipment. There is also a new building, a workshop for making equipment. The blacksmith and tanner created mainly E-rank swords and shields, and for the main heroes was relatively better equipment. The 3 laggards were dealt with by synthesis, which included Dolph, who lied about his class. A few days later, the Master sends the team to the 5th floor. They find themselves in an abandoned city with no monsters or humans. Han orders Jenna to climb the bell tower and inspect the town. Jenna looks around and sees a mob of goblins approaching them. The 5th floor is not a sweep level, but a survival level. You must survive an attack by enemies. In order to win, the heroes need to survive for 10 minutes. Han and the others find a place in the form of an alley and occupy it. Khan gives out orders as to who should stand how. The timer has 30 minutes, which means that when the first goblin appears near the heroes, the counter will start. Crowds of goblins are advancing, and our heroes take turns to fight them. The newcomers get exhausted too quickly because they make too many moves. Han asks Zid to take over for Hansen, but Zid is wounded by having his arm cut off. Because of this, his stats are lowered by 30%. Han asks Jenna to help Zid, while Jenna tries to encourage him and succeeds. Han asks Jenna to take Aaron's place. Giving orders to change positions, the heroes have 3 minutes to last. Zid is mortally wounded. Zid dies. The heroes continue to fight the goblins, thereby increasing their characteristics, which manifested themselves in a difficult moment. We also see the death of Hansen. Our heroes begin to retreat. Han orders Jenna to climb the wall behind them while they hold off the goblin onslaught. As Jenna was helping Aaron climb the wall, one of the goblins stabs him in the leg. Aaron is in serious condition, and Han tells Jenna to take his spear for protection, for the goblins are using the dead bodies of their kin to get to them. With 30 seconds to go, our heroes need to hold out. Suddenly the goblin stabs Han with his sword. Our heroes find themselves in a critical condition, as they are all mortally wounded. Suddenly Han's berserker skill is awakened. Under this skill, Khan turns into a ferocious warrior who starts killing goblins in droves. Moreover, here comes the cherished end of time. Our heroes made it past the 5th floor and survived. After passing the 5th floor, the daily dungeons open for the heroes. The heroes are back and can't believe they survived. Returning to the waiting room, they are met by one of the heroes who asks where Zid and Hansen are, to which he receives the answer that they are dead. Han returns to his room and ponders the fact that cold-bloodedness and berserk don't stack together, and maybe it's a bug. The next day, Han arrives at the training field and sees Jenna has been there since this morning. We are shown that Han is one step closer to getting a 2nd star for his hero. He is a level 9, and if you get a level 10, you automatically become a 2nd star. There is a conversation between Han and Jenna in which they discuss what happened on the 5th floor. At this point, Aaron, who feels unimportant on the team, comes to them. Han asks him to calm down, because Zid and Hansen died because they were weak. According to the game world, Han is about a month away, but according to the real world, about 10 days away. Han was able to calculate the intervals of the Master's entry into the game. The wizard logs in 3 times, in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night. During combat, the time runs the same. The wizard forms a new team, which includes Han and Jenna and the 3 unknowns. The time gap takes the heroes to the daily challenge of gathering resources. As they gather resources, the waiting room replenishes the vault. Han commands the others to gather resources and calls Jenna along for the hunt. They see a deer and Jenna shoots it. Han asks Jenna to butcher the deer and throw the carcass over the gap, and he goes on his own. He finds the Queen of the Forest, a rare monster that appears in the forests of the daily trials. From the Forest Queen, he drops the material for pumping, a low-ranking attribute stone. With an easy move, Han deals with the Forest Queen's minions and is left alone with her. Having dealt with the monster, Han returns to his team. Because Jenna is the daughter of a hunter and knows a lot about animals and hunting in general, she gets the Forest Hunter skill. A D-rank elemental stone is dropped from the deer. Upon returning to the waiting room, all the game we caught and killed was cooked and the heroes were able to eat normally. We are told about the daily challenges, a system that changes the location depending on the day of the week. For the day the heroes have access to the Simul Plateau, the location of the elemental stones. Han and Jenna go to the plateau. As they move, Han explains to Jenna that the elemental stones are necessary to improve the character. The first thing they see is the flowers of life, the material for creating healing elixirs. Han and Jenna find a huge wolf from which an elemental stone falls and deal with it. A few days later, the Master sends Han, Jenna, Aaron, and Dick to the 6th floor. The purpose of the 6th floor is to scout an unknown location. Han realizes that the floor can be passed quietly, which is what the team begins to do. On the way they meet level 8 goblins, but if they attack them, they will call for help, as they have a bugle with them. Jenna climbs a tree to look around and sees a goblin village in the distance. Han suggests that the team deal with the 3 goblins quietly.